The use of paratroopers on D-Day was the first attack of Operation Overlord and the largest use of airborne attack at that time. Paratroopers were flown from bases in southern England before attacking Normandy. More than 13,000 men were used for these attacks, and Canada and England also provided troops. After the original flight of troops attacked, around 4,000 men would fly in on 500 gliders to reinforce the attacks and provide weapons and medical units. The troops were ordered to be sent down by parachute 5 hours before the initial attack by the troops on ships. This was one of the most difficult tasks. Both the 82nd and 101st U.S. Airborne Divisions were dropped on the Cherbourg Peninsula on the northwest side of France. The 101st Division secured the western end, and the 82nd Division was used more inland to claim bridges that would prevent German advance to the west. The Germans made it very difficult for the paratroopers to land properly because of their weapons and heavy fog in the area. Many were injured or killed during the attack, and many lost their equipment. The paratroopers fought in such tough conditions, but were very brave and helped to occupy the German troops. The 101st Regiment suffered very heavy losses, with only 1 out of every 6 men actually reaching their destination. These paratroopers were tough men. They carried such a heavy amount of supplies, making them 90 to 120 pounds heavier than their actual body weight. This made it extra difficult to land the parachute in the correct place, so under those conditions, the men did a good job of distracting the Germans while other troops planned their attacks by land. Their main objective was to blockade the Germans from certain beach ports. They landed on beaches on the northern front of France. The first landing at Utah was an error because the troops landed kilometers away from their original plan. This mistake leads to a clear path inward to attack the German troops, though. This port was bombed by naval forces, but was eventually cleared for the reinforcements to make their way to aid the troops. At Omaha, the port was better defended due to the landscaping that surrounded the area, but that didn't stop the German forces. The U.S. suffered so many losses at Omaha, the commander there almost considered declaring Omaha a failed landing and making the reinforcements go to other beaches to help a different landing. The paratroopers found the strength to fight through the German defenses in order to move beyond the beach and set up very strong defenses against the Germans. The paratroopers were successful overall by initiating a surprise attack on the German forces on D-Day.
The naval and air bombardment was to protect Neptune from German and naval air counteraction. The primary reason of the bombardment program was to prevent German coastal batteries from interfering with the safety of Allied ships and forces. The Germans had installed some 25 major batteries composed of heavy and medium guns. If these batteries had been allowed an uninterrupted opportunity, they would have been able to defeat the Neptune assault before it reached the beaches. Another reason of the bombardment program was to support the assault and subsequent operations ashore by neutralizing or destroying beach defenses. The bombardment was employed to flatten beach obstacles, to explode beach mines, to neutralize positions and batteries shelling the beach, and to engage counteracting formations. The heavy forces the naval bombardment was carried out by were 7 battleships, 2 monitors, 23 cruisers, 2 gunboats, and 74 destroyers. Pre-D-Day, aerial bombardment of coastal battery targets was uniformly dispersed over the entire northern coast of France and the Low Countries. The air forces had, however, succeeded before D-Day in bombing the most dangerous batteries in the Bay of Seine at least once. During the night preceding D-Day, 1,136 heavy bombers of RAF Bomber Command dropped 5,853 tons of bombs on the 10 most dangerous batteries in the Neptune area. Naval bombardment was designed to accomplish neutralization or destruction of beach defenses during the final approach and assault, and support of the Army after the assault by engaging mobile batteries, counteracting formations in defended areas, particularly during that period when the Army was not fully deployed. And people ask, what are the results of the naval bombardment? Well, the results of the naval bombardment is hard to give. Prisoner reports indicate that the terror of the gunfire from ships at sea was a major factor in driving the Germans from their positions. Naval gunfire neutralized rather than destroyed enemies' batteries.
During the Battle of Normandy, the Allied forces consisted of the United Kingdom, United States, Canada, the Free French forces, Poland, Australia, the Free Belgian forces, New Zealand, the Netherlands, Norway, the Free Czechoslovak forces, and Greece, whereas the Axis force consisted of just Germany. The Battle of Normandy had begun a couple months before the actual invasion because Allied bombers began attacking the Normandy coast to destroy transportation links and to weaken Germany's army. More than 300 planes dropped 13,000 bombs over Normandy Beach, along with 6 parachute regiments with more than 13,000 men. These men cut railroad lines, blew up bridges, and seized landing fields. During the battle, the Allies had a 5,000 vessel that transported men and vehicles across the channel to the beaches, along with 4,000 smaller landing craft and more than 11,000 aircraft. Mostly due to the low quantity of their weapons, not the quality of them due to the bombing of the Allies. German foot soldiers, tankers, and artillerymen who would man the beach defenses were also armed with inferior weapons such as the Nebelwerfer, which would shoot 6 rockets in 10 minutes with a maximum range of 7,060 meters. The Allied forces sent over more than 160,000 troops to the beaches at Normandy. Of that, 10,000 U.S. troops were wounded, 2,500 of them dead. Great Britain suffered 2,700 casualties, and the Canadians lost 946 soldiers. A breakdown of the United States' casualties is 1,465 dead, 3,184 wounded, 1,928 missing, and 26 captured. Also, 2,499 casualties were from U.S. airborne troops, 238 being deaths. The total number of German casualties are unknown but are estimated between 4,000 and 9,000 men. Between the Allied and German troops, there were over 425,000 casualties. 209,000 were Allied and an estimate of 200,000 were German.
Gold Beach was attacked by the 50th Northumbrian Division of the British Second Army. They attacked the German 716th Division. The primary objective of the troops that were attacking Gold Beach was to obtain the area called Arrolanches. Although the British Army had trouble at first, they were able to break through the German defense with very few deaths. A main catalyst to their attack was the surplus of funnies. Funnies were armored vehicles that shot 290mm mortars and could easily clear obstacles, minefields, or large forts. Of the 25,000 British troops that attacked, there were only 400 casualties suffered. Juno Beach was where the 3rd Canadian Division landed on D-Day. 14,000 Canadian troops stormed the beach. 340 of these troops died and another 574 were injured. The Canadian troops made the deepest advancement of any other land forces during D-Day. Their objective was to capture the German airfield Karpiket, just west of Cologne. Sword Beach was attacked by the 3rd British Infantry Division. The objective was to advance inland to Cologne and meet up with the British airborne forces. This beach was located the furthest east of all 5 of the beaches. Sword Beach spanned nearly 5 miles of shoreline. Nearly 29,000 men attacked Sword Beach, and more than 630 casualties were suffered. Compared to beaches such as Omaha, Sword Beach was lightly defended. The advance to Cologne was found to be very difficult, though, as the British troops faced more resistance further inland. Opposition from the 21st Panzer and also the 12th SS prevented the British from reaching Cologne until later in June. The main reason for invading Utah Beach was the need for a major port site. Taking Utah Beach would put the Allies within a 40-mile radius of Cherbourg. The attack on Utah Beach was added toward the later stages of planning the attack. The beach was roughly 3 miles long and the farthest west of all the beaches. U.S. troops reached land without much resistance, contrary to the Omaha Beach. The result of this battle was an Allied victory. Out of the 20,000 U.S. troops that attacked the beach, 200 died or were injured. The number of German casualties was unknown. Omaha Beach is the most notable of the 5 beaches attacked on D-Day. The beach is 5 miles long. During the attack, 34,000 U.S. troops attacked the beach in the early morning. The U.S. suffered nearly 2,500 deaths and injuries. Germans, on the other hand, only had 7,800 troops, but still suffered nearly 1,200 deaths and injuries. By the end of the battle, it was said that the waters were a distinctive red color. Out of all 5 beaches, Omaha was the hardest to attack. This is so because of a crescent curve to the beach, an assortment of bluffs which are up to 30 meters high, and cliffs which are up to 200 meters high, that spread out along the beach. The biggest obstacle the American troops faced was the German pillboxes. The Germans had 35 of these pillboxes, which we saw in Saving Private Ryan. The objective of the attack was to obtain an area between Port Embusson and the Vieille River where the U.S. troops could set up a base.